entering into self-love. And whenever you're on this spiritual journey, it's always a work in progress, because you deal with different challenges throughout the day and things like that. So it's always a work in progress because you're dealing with different people with different energies and things like that. So, you can never stay stagnant, it's still the real world. Things happen, people come into your lives, that's just what it is. But I'm not going to go too much into details about the past of my life. I wrote a book, so if you're interested in learning in depth of things about me, you can purchase that book. Um, I dealt with traumas. I dealt with toxic relationships. I dealt with a lot of pain, child loss, things like that. Silent depression. I dealt with all of that. But at the end of the day, I remained strong and I kept a pure heart. I kept my spirit clean no matter what I went through, but it was not always easy. It wasn't easy, it wasn't easy. I made it look easy, but it was not easy. I dealt with a lot of things and I kept it to myself. Um, what occurred was I had endured so much pain till I got to the point that I felt like I was at rock bottom. Rock bottom meaning, you know, the pain was just so heavy, and I knew what I felt like, the type of person that I was a genuine person. I wore my heart on my shoulder. And I kind of felt like it was a blessing and a curse that I did that. But as I lived life, I realized that it's not a blessing. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not a curse and it's not a blessing. It's just who I am, and being who I am, I must remain true to myself. I have nothing to do with how other people handle me, but I have everything to do with how I handle those people that mishandled me. So that just means I am who I am. I give good, and that's just that. That's how God made me, and that's what I will continue to do. I will never repay any bad for bad. I will let God do that. And I know some people can say, that's easier said than done, da 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 da. But let me tell you, doing revenge and just being a nasty person, it actually weighs heavy on you. So let God repay those people who do wrong to you. You don't sit and try and get even. You sit back and let God fix that. That's what you do. Because that's what I did. And that's what I will continue to do. I will continue to keep people in prayer who try to hurt me, who try to harm me. You know, live your best life. That's the best thing that you can do is live your best life. I mean, that's just what it is. But never let anyone change who you are as a person. And so, like I said, I felt like I was at rock bottom. So once you're at rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but on top. That means if you feel like you're at rock bottom, the only option left is to get up and go to the top. And that's where I was at. But upon doing that, I had to I had to remember who I was. I had to remember like, hey, I'm a good person. I know I don't deserve the things that I'm going through. Why am I going through the things that I'm going through? I had to start asking myself questions like that. And once I started asking myself those questions, I realized, well, you're going through these things because you're allowing yourself to go through these things. Life is a choice. Things that happen to you is a choice. What you allow will continue, and what you don't allow will not continue. So I had to realize, hey, I'm not taking this. I'm choosing I'm choosing to be at rock bottom. I don't have to be here, but I'm choosing to be here. So I had to get with myself, and I had to fully come to understanding of who I was as a person to get out of that hell or rock bottom that I was living in. Okay? So, like I said, once I got to that place, I started doing self reflection. And with doing self reflection, that ties into soul searching. Okay? And this is how my spiritual journey started. I started doing self reflecting and I started soul searching. I started asking myself questions like I said, why did certain things occur in my life from a child? Um, why did I feel the way I was feeling? Why did I allow all the things that were going on in my life, I started asking, what is my purpose in the world? Because I always felt like I was here for a reason, because ever since a child, I always cared for people. I always would help people, even people that did not help me. I always would help them. So I knew that it was something within me, but I just didn't know exactly what it was. So I began to want to know what my purpose was. And like I said, things became so low for me in a mental and soulful level that the only thing that I knew how to do was go back to what I was taught, and that was to pray. That was to meditate. That was to lean on God. And that's exactly what I did. And once I started doing that, I started healing myself. And with healing myself, God started strengthening the gifts that He had given me that I knew. Well, I can't say that I knew I always had, but I just always knew I was different, if that makes sense. So once He started strengthening these gifts, things started making sense to me. And like I said, I realized that I was able to heal myself. Because, guys, I'm trying to tell you, like, I was in such a dark place on many days. Like, some of the things that I went through in the relationship that I was in, you could not imagine. And then I lost my very first pregnancy. I lost that child while I was 5 months pregnant. That weighed very heavily on me. And to this day, it still weighs heavy on me. And I did not have the support that I needed to have to even understand what was going on. That was my first pregnancy. I was 23 years old. You know, that type of thing never happened in my family, but it happened to me, and I did not understand. I never saw anyone in my family deal with a child loss. So I felt less of a woman. I felt, well, what's wrong with me? Then I had family members that were pregnant along with me at the same time. They went on to have their babies. So it was a whole lot of things that I dealt with in my life that now that I'm on this journey, I understand that I had to go through everything that I went through to be able to help other people, to be able to help heal other people, to be able to mentor other people, and give the positivity and the love, the genuine love that is in me and has always been in me. So that's really how I got on my spiritual journey. Like that pain, that pain and being at rock bottom, I had to pray and I had to come back to God for God to show me what my life purpose was, and for Him to open up everything that He had given me, you know? So once I did my reflection, and my soul searching, I got to the self-love part. Self-love was something that I lacked. And I did not even know that I lacked it as much as I did until I got from rock bottom. Okay? Self-love is so important because we teach people how to treat us, the things that we put in our bodies, the things that we do to our bodies. When we look in the mirror, what we see is all self love. Okay? It is so very important. And I was one of those people that I lack self love. I will be honest and say it. I know I lack self love because of the things that I put up with in the toxic relationship that I was in. And so here today, my self love is super strong. I don't allow anyone to hurt me. The first time that there's any shadiness, I'm out of there because I have to be. Because life is experiences, and I've already experienced a ton of things. So you don't take one situation into the next situation, but what you do is you be cautious and you pay attention. And when you start seeing those same similar signs, then you already know, hey, I'm out of here. So it's that thing where I know my worth, I know my value, I know who I am. I'm not gonna fool up with you. I'm not gonna deal with this because I love me. And once you begin to love yourself, you will leave people, places, situations, and anything that does not serve your higher good. You will leave them completely alone. You won't dwell on it. You know, if you do dwell on it, it'll be, maybe because you may have started, caring for someone or something or whatever the case may be. But the point is, you put yourself first. You put yourself first. If you're not being treated with respect and you're not being treated kind, given the same love and care that you're giving out, then you're gonna fall back. And that's cool because that's self love. Don't guilt trip yourself for falling back. How I love me is how you should love me. If you can't love me how I love myself, then we can't be together. We can't be friends. We can't kick it. We can't cool it. We can't go shopping. We can't do none of that. You got to go. Period. That's just what that is. Okay? So, self-love is a continued journey as well. Within this spiritual journey, having that self-love is a continued thing because you have to be mindful of how you come down on yourself too. We are our biggest critic. You know, we criticize ourselves more than others. So, you just have to try and master that self-love. If you can't get it all the way to 100%, make sure it's at least 90 to 95% the majority of the time, and give that little leverage to that 5% or that 10%. But you definitely want to give yourself your all when it comes to loving yourself. um with self-love, you need to always make sure that you ask yourself, am I taking the best care of myself? Am I treating myself the best that I could? Am I putting things into my body that I should not? Am I allowing people access to my body that I should not? Ask yourself those things. You want to make sure that you're cautious with who you allow in your space, especially on the spiritual journey. I mean, personally, on a spiritual journey, anyways, you should have a limited amount of people around you, anyways. And the reason why I say this is because everyone that was in my life before my spiritual journey is no longer in my life, because those were the people that were not for my highest good. People who I thought were my friends or even some family members, they started doing shady things. And most of that, honestly, was because I was praying to God to remove people out of my life that did not mean me well. Remove people out of my life that would hinder my growth as, being on this journey. And things would come up and I would have to let those people go. So I knew that it was God that was removing those people. Sometimes we have to stop putting question marks where God put periods. Okay? And so whenever I saw someone doing something shady, I was like, okay, God, they got to go. It was no question marks because I know what I was praying for. I know what when I was meditating, I know the vibes. So I just knew. So a lot of those people that were in my life, some people I had friendships with since middle school. I had to shed them. It was just I just had to, you know, and it's okay. You wish these people well. I wish these people well, but they can't come on this journey with me because they're not for my greater good. They a lot of people can pretend. A lot of people can take your kindness for weakness. They're around just for the benefit of it. Those type of people you have to let go. You want genuine, like-minded people around you so you can grow. And on this spiritual journey, I've come to find that I'm not the only one with spiritual gifts. You know, Sometimes you can feel weird or out of place because it's a lot of people that have a mediocre mindset, and they will make you feel weird. But I've come to realize, hey, I'm not weird. These are my God given gifts, and I'm gonna embrace it. If I tell people that I'm psychic, they're like, "Oh, you're crazy." Yeah, I'm crazy until I start telling you some stuff about yourself that I have no clue about. Then you're like, "Wait a minute." Exactly. So, um, it's just a lot of things that you have to embrace within yourself. and I had to embrace the uniqueness of myself with confidence, not care about what people had to say or what people thought of it. Um, and that's just what it is. So once I did my self reflection, my soul searching, I embraced myself, I embodied and mastered self love. Then I got to my rebirth.